Hi Siri, I'm looking for a new podcast, one that preferably is hosted by a UF Hall of Famer, one that airs every weekday that would bring me everything I need to know about the Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions. Siri, is there such a show?
Have you heard of PodUp with Matthews in the morning on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or any podcast platform?
Oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? UF Hall of Famer Shane Matthews has a show every weekday. I'm going to go check it out tomorrow. Thanks, Siri.
Good morning. It's a live edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. Locations across the state of Florida, right there at Celebration Point in the heart of Gator Nation. Go check them out, International Diamond Center Studios. We got JC today. We'll also have Mike Morgan. See what basketball games he's got this week. There's not a whole lot of like conference type stuff going on. This is that dead period. If you missed it last night, there was a bowl game. I'm not sure who won though. It was the bowl game in Montgomery. Maybe JC watched it. JC, you're on the Titan courtesy of Comfort Time. Did you watch the bowl game last night?
I did. I did watch a little bit of it. I also watched that Tennessee Volunteer team blow up Louisville by 21. As a 1.5 point favorite. So I was happy about that. And, you know, QB, I'm slowly easing into the basketball frame of mind, but we've got the football playoffs coming. We've got a great NFL card this weekend. I know you're very eager to watch some NFL on Saturday and Sunday. And, you know, of course, the NFL had to get involved on Saturday because of the college football playoff. Not sure why they did that, but they did it. And so there's a lot to get excited about. We're going to have on Win with JC tomorrow a preview of all that and try to get you into the right frame of mind to make some money this weekend. We had a good weekend last weekend, even though we didn't have a show. So things were good. And I have to, QB, if you give me a minute to indulge me, I have to make a retraction from Monday's program. Retraction, because Barone, one of our listeners, and I think a couple others who are viewing as well, were correct about Duke, and I was grossly misinformed and incorrect. The Duke Blue Devils had 2 ACC losses, not 3. They beat NC State. For some reason, I said they lost to NC State. And yes, I was wrong. I was flat wrong about that. I went on this program, broadcast globally, and said the wrong info. So bad on me, guys. Mistake. And I just want to thank all of the viewers for setting me straight, because after the show, I was thinking to myself, why are these guys all on my ass about Duke? And they turned out to be right, and I turned out to be wrong, and I'm not paid to be wrong. Maybe I make a wrong pick, but that's different. So Barone 71, you were right, buddy. So thanks for keeping me on my toes. And I just feel bad about that kind of stuff, because I go nuts when I listen to somebody on the radio or watch them on TV and they factually make an error. It's like one of my pet peeves of all time. It's like when you misspell the word there. It's like when you spell there, you know, THEIR or THERE, and people get that wrong. And doesn't that just grate on you, QB?
No, you know what drives me crazier than that, JC?
What's that?
Is how people use I.
Yeah. Me and I. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that drives me insane. You know, I called journalists out on that. Some friends of mine that write stories, I'm like, that's wrong. And they go back and they look at after they printed it and are like, you're right. Look, I don't speak great English, but my mom was a damn English teacher for many, many years. I know what's proper and what's not.
Yeah. Well, I, you know, that's good that you know that, because you should know that, especially with your mom, making sure you got it right.
It drives me insane.
But misspellings drive me crazy too, especially when people's names are misspelled or just when grammatically the misspelling is there. So it drives me crazy when people are wrong, when I'm wrong and I say I'm right and then I turn out to be wrong. I have a problem with that with myself. So we went through some serious meditation, and I appreciate the viewers, and I'll just let that die. Okay. We're going to let that die, QB. But that's good. I hate being wrong. And then I hate arguing with people about
Joseph
being right.
Joseph wants you to know on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, it takes a real man to admit when he's wrong, JC.
Well, I'm an idiot on that Monday. So it's the good news. It's Wednesday. And so we can put that to bed. But I had to get it out there because for some reason it's been on my mind. You know, with everything that's going on in the world, Gators trying to find a quarterback, and I want to touch on that just for a minute because I know you and Buddy did that all day yesterday. I didn't watch, but when it's on my mind like that, I have to get it out. So I'm done. I'm sorry, guys. I screwed that up. Now, QB, I'm sure you and Buddy went in depth about the Lagway getting into the portal. Other than how you feel about it, what do you think will happen now? I hear this kid Philo from Georgia Tech is a name that Florida's looking at, but I don't know anything else. Is there anything you can add?
Well, there's been talks. I think Aaron Philo will come here. There's also Mensa, the quarterback at Duke.
Oh, Mensa, yeah.
Reported that he might go, but he may go pro.
Oh,
look, there's a lot there. There's people blowing up the Titan text line regarding Aaron Philo.
Aaron Philo.
Bashing John Sumrall and Buster Faulkner
really?
about acquisition. Okay. I don't know how to put this. If you want to coach, then get in coaching. But Buster Faulkner is I think he won the Frank Broyles Award, which means the top assistant in America. Is that right?
Yeah, and didn't he help our little quarterback in Georgia win a natty?
Yes, he had Stetson Bennett, who was a walk-on, by the way. Look, do not get caught up in the numbers and stars and all that crap, okay?
Different team at Georgia Tech.
No. I'm just saying in general in football.
Yeah, I get it. Look,
Campbell Ward was not a highly acclaimed guy.
That's right.
I can go on and on and on. And look, all I need is somebody to operate the offense. I don't need somebody to wow me with arm talent and all that nonsense. I need somebody to just make the offense roll. That's all I need.
Get the ball in the stinking end zone and convert your third down.
So
get the third downs. Yeah.
This is not, I mean, if people are upset, go find another team. I'm tired of all the negativity. We just had, I mean, we have not been very good in a long time. Okay. Simple as that. Brandon on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon, says QB Carrollton and Buford was on Hulu last night for the state championship. They actually call that the national championship in high school football. And it was like watching a mini college team.
Yeah.
I saw some of it. The company I work for takes care of both of those teams.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing. I know Texas football, blah, blah, blah. When you put Carrollton and Buford on a field together,
there you go.
We'll put those two teams up against any programs in America. It is those two teams may have beaten. I know for a fact they would have beaten those two teams that played in that. What was that bowl called last night?
Yeah.
The
Crampton Bowl. So that's in Montgomery, the Crampton Bowl.
That's where the game was last night.
Is that where it was? Okay. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the bowl game.
Honest to God, I don't even know where it was played because of how little I cared because I didn't bet on it. And that's on me, but I should have watched some of it. I was on Tennessee last night, Tennessee basketball against Louisville, and I watched the Vols do their thing and cash me out. And I loved it. So, I apologize for not who won. Did Jacksonville State win or did Troy win?
I don't even know.
Okay. Well, you must have fallen asleep then with your Christmas trees behind you. I think that's got to be your permanent Christmas background, QB. That is the most festive and happy scene. It truly goes to your personality of festiveness and happiness.
Absolutely.
So, yeah,
I'm always happy, Jason.
I know you are. Yeah. I know you don't blow it out like the rest of us. You just keep it inside. It's okay. When you're happy. I know when you're happy. You're happy when you birdie and you make a pole.
JC, by the way, this past weekend, I played Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Ooh.
Don't give me.
It was good golf.
And don't you ever complain about your bad
75,
back.
73, 76.
All right, Mr. 73, 76 with the chronic back injury. I don't want to hear it from you.
It was a good payday.
Just in time for Christmas. So, all right. So
the grandkid's going to get some new shoes. Andy says here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon. Shane, do you think the Bears win the division with Parsons out and the Lions having an all season? That's a great question. I want to say, don't the Bears and the Packers are at the top, right, JC?
The Bears and the Packers are at top. The Lions are 8-6, trying to get in. They still have a
So
chance.
basically, either the Bears or the Lions are going to probably win the division. I mean, Bears or the
Packers. Yes.
Parsons is a huge, huge factor.
He's
However,
out.
I don't know
Christian Watson
who
is going to be
everybody
out
plays
too.
the rest of the season.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
this is a big one in Chicago. You know, the Bears historically, as a Bear former player, they just don't beat the Packers for whatever the reason is. But this is a big one for Chicago at home with the Bears winning and the Packers losing last week. The winner of this game is in the driver's seat to take the division and get a home game. And that's so important. The NFL has so many good games this weekend. Jacksonville's playing Denver. Jacksonville is a game ahead of Houston. They have beaten each other one time. And the Houston Texans would really have a layup with the Raiders. So the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Texans could end up being tied again after this weekend because Denver winning at Denver, dude, I have a feeling the playoffs are going to go in the AFC through the Mile High City just because of how Bo Nix is playing and how damn good their defense is. But with that in mind, there's also New England out there trying to stave off Buffalo, and Buffalo beat them last week, and they have a one-game lead on Buffalo. So the AFC is really tight. It's really exciting. Over in the NFC, you've got the Rams and the Seahawks playing tonight. Or no, tomorrow night, Thursday Night Football on Amazon. And they're going to play that game in Seattle. The Rams will not have Devontae Adams. He's going to probably be held out because he's got a hamstring issue, and it's a short week to travel to Seattle. I think you have to give the advantage to Seattle. But Sam Darnold, you know, he hasn't been great. And last week, the Colts had him beat. They flat out had him beat with 40 seconds left. But to the Seahawks' credit, they took the ball at the 35 and got into field goal range for Myers to win it. So that game between the Rams and Seahawks will be for the lead in the division and the top seed in the NFC. And San Francisco is right there behind them, just a couple games behind them there or a game behind them. So the NFC West could easily have three teams, no doubt about it. The East is likely going to have Philadelphia represent. In the South, it's between Carolina and Tampa Bay is going to be playing at Carolina this weekend. So that's another big one that will determine, you know, who's going to get in the driver's seat of the NFC South. And then, of course, in the I said in the NFC North earlier, the Bears, Packers, and the Lions are holding on for dear life. So this is great, man. This is a great time of year. It's a great weekend. Not to mention, on Friday night, Alabama gets to go to Oklahoma to see if they can lose 2 times in a row to a team in 30 days. I know you're excited about that. Alabama will be a little healthier in that game. You know, I heard Chris Doering, and I think he's right in one thing, but he's wrong on the other. When Oklahoma played Alabama the first time, Oklahoma did force Alabama into some uncharacteristically bad plays in the red zone and turning over the football. But Oklahoma didn't force Alabama to drop a punt at the 27-yard line. They didn't force that. That just happened. And Alabama turned the ball over 4 times and lost the turnover ratio, I think 0-4, something like that. So Alabama has to clean that up. All this talk about Kalen DeBoer is not a big deal. He's not going anywhere. And then we have the games between. Let me ask you this: Are you really excited about James Madison playing at Oregon and Tulane playing at Ole Miss? Are you? If you weren't watching John Summerall, would that really get your goat excited to watch Tulane go to Ole Miss?
Regardless of John Summerall, I do think Tulane's going to play Ole Miss tougher than they did the first time. You know, there's rumors out there.
Yeah.
Well, there were. I doubt it's now that. Trinidad was going to sit out.
Oh boy! Oh my God! What would he do that for?
Because he's talking. Because apparently they were going to not make him sit. Well, they were talking about making him sit out. He did an interview, JC, where a reporter asked him, "What are your plans for next year?" He basically did not give them an answer.
You know what that means.
So they were saying, "Well, maybe the Ole Miss administration says you can't play." He's going to play.
I think he's going to play too.
But I do think Tulane's going to give them a little bit better game than last time.
And you think Oregon's going to pretty much cover that 21 on JMU?
Yeah, JMU is not the same JMU that you've seen in the past, in my opinion. I watched them play a couple of times. I think they get clobbered. They get clobbered. So the Ole Miss Tulane winner is going to go to the Sugar Bowl to play Georgia. You know, Ole Miss had a 10-point lead on Georgia going into the fourth quarter of that game in Athens this year. They can handle those guys. They're physical. It's going to be an amazing Sugar Bowl. And then if Tulane were to win, could you imagine the Tulane Green Wave playing in New Orleans for the Sugar Bowl? That's where they used to play back when I used to watch them play Ole Miss in the Superdome.
The Tulane. Yeah, and they also had a stadium in New Orleans, Tulane Stadium, where the Sugar Bowl used to be played in the 70s. You were 2 years old when the Gators played Nebraska. I was 7. and the Gators
Well, if
played
it was
Nebraska.
1970, I was
No,
just
no, no. It was 72. It was 72. So that Nebraska Florida game, that Sugar Bowl, was Florida winning it the entire day. They were, if they had lines in those days, the Gators would have been a 2-touchdown or 3-touchdown underdog. They were leading the game the entire way against Nebraska and lost it in the fourth quarter. I'll never forget that. I was 7 years old, watched the Florida Gators and Tony Green and Willie Wilder and all those great running backs the Gators used to have. Almost beat the mighty Cornhuskers, and they were in those days very mighty. So that stunk. But then you've also got this Miami Texas A&M game at noon, and I think they kind of messed up the times, the TV. They should be playing that game at night and let the other games play earlier. But anyway, A&M and Miami at 11 o'clock local time. Damn, I really think Miami could win that, and I think that's going to be the best game of the four. I really do.
Yeah. Let's get to a couple of texts here on the Titan More text line. This one says, haven't we had arm talent, AR, Lagway, Franks? Yeah, it's overrated. This is Kevin on the Titan More text line. They need to look at Follows, highlights, Duke can spin it. Look, anybody who's playing college football can throw the football. Let's just leave it at that.
Well, that Tulane
down to
quarterback
decision making, accuracy, and running an offense and understanding what's going on.
Yeah, no doubt. Although that quarterback we saw Tulane play with last year was horrible. Let me tell you what I think about Lagway. I think he's a good kid. I think he's going to find somewhere to go, but I don't think he's that good. And I don't think he's a great quarterback. And I think Florida's about to save a lot of NIL money they can spend on someone else going into next year. And I also think that with a new quarterback and a new staff, I think it's great that they told DJ, you're going to have to compete for this job if you want to win it. And we don't care who's paying you this much or that much. I thought that was so great. I cheered out loud when I read that. And that when he heard that he was actually going to have to fight for a job in spite of how much free money he was getting for basically having done nothing, I really cheered. And I think that's the sign that we need to have here at Florida. And John Summerall, I'm telling you, from the moment he was hired, I was like, absolutely hell yes, because I know he was going to Auburn if he didn't get hired here. And I think Scott Strickland did a damn good job. I'm going to say it I don't know how many times I've criticized that guy, but I thought he did a good job dealing with Kiffin and all his nonsense and basically saying, you know what, we're going to go with this guy from Tulane who's been to 4 straight conference championship games with the team he coached. Hell yeah. Florida needs to get back to Atlanta, bro. It's not the same without the Gator Nation in Atlanta. And believe me, I know that because I've been to Atlanta and seen more championship games. You and I both on this show have probably seen more SEC championship games in person than anybody that's watching us. So we need the Gators back in there, and I think he's the guy to do it. But I do think what the way they handled DJ was appropriate, and whoever's paying that guy money, I'm sorry for your loss.
Again,
I really am.
Again, I hope DJ, wherever he goes, has a lot of success.
Yeah, let's let him win.
As the old NFL saying, the eye in the sky don't lie.
And get on some Nutrisystem or something. Let's lose 25 pounds. He'll be a lot better player, and somebody will take him. If you think he's going to LSU to play for Lane Kiffin, I think you're crazy as out of your mind. It's not happening. That's been broadcast over the Twitter feed. But to me, the Gators are A, saving a lot of money. Well, somebody's saving a lot of money. And B, the one that paid him can have his buyer's remorse now finally wiped clean and move forward. And look, the Gators are going to get a new leader. If it's this Aaron Philo or if it's Joe Ferguson, it doesn't matter to me. Like you say, Buster Faulkner and John Summerall will figure it out. And by the way, my neighbor, I think they're going to keep him around. I'm really excited for that too. So.
Gallo Car Wash is locally owned by a UF alum and the only car wash that provides NIL opportunities to Gator athletes. Locations on Northwest 13th Street, Wilson Road, coming soon to Jonesville. We got JC. We'll have Mike Morgan momentarily.
Mike Morgan. Yeah. I love that guy. I think he's so damn good at what, although he had a suit on the other day, QB, that made my eyes want to fall out of my head. But I mean, his suit game is so strong. But
maybe he's trying to be like Craig Sager
or Ryan Clark. Okay, so I mean, it was my eyes were burning in my skull, but I was amazed. And Mike is such a professional and he's a Gator. So you gotta be happy for Mike Morgan, and hopefully he'll be down here in Gainesville soon. And when he comes to Gainesville, I'm going to get with him. I got to hear his stories. Got to hear his stories.
A lot of people on here are talking about like Kyle Trask is the last true quarterback we had.
Kyle Trask was just as good
He
as a
didn't have great
Heisman.
arm talent.
Well, I'll tell you what, his numbers were better than Fernando's, and his numbers were Heisman-like. They were Heisman
Yeah,
Trophy-ish.
very good player, man, because he knew where to go with the football. He could make
Yeah.
all the throws.
I mean, when you got Grimes and Pitts out there, you're gonna be. All you gotta do is just be awake, right? I mean, those guys were catching everything. So,
Yeah.
I can't
All right,
believe he
we got a
hasn't
text
played
here
football in
from
the NFL. I can't believe
Frank
it.
in Chicago. I bet it's cold as hell there right now. He says Tony Romo's botched hole in the 2006 playoff loss to Seattle cost Dallas the game.
Yes, it
Holders
did.
are often backup QBs, not necessarily though, Frank. So I'm guessing you had that job a lot. Will you please describe that unappreciated role and any standout plays you had, good or bad? Most in the National Football League, I would say 98% of the teams, the holder is the punter. I don't know why Romo did it, quite honestly. I know in college it's usually the punter. I want to say Alabama usually has their quarterback as their holder because it always puts the threat of fake field goal, fake extra point, whatever. But I never did it. What's that again, Zach? Okay, so the punter, I guess, was Zach says was hurt when Romo did it, but I did it. I think it was my rookie year with the Bears. We were playing in old Three Rivers Stadium in a preseason game.
Oh my God!
It was in the second half.
Yeah.
Chris Gardocki was our punter who held for Kevin Butler. So they put in the rookie free agent kicker for the second half field goal, or I think it was an extra point. I go in there, I get a bad snap. So the dude one hops it to me. Almost two hops. I grab it, but the kicker's timing was off, right?
Yeah.
So I put the ball down. He doesn't kick it, and I get freaking drilled in the low back.
Oh.
I was like, I'm out. I ain't doing this anymore. So I never held again.
I mean, imagine getting brutally hurt on holding a ball for a field goal.
No, for an extra point in a preseason game.
Extra point in a stinking preseason game in
Yeah,
Pittsburgh.
I went to the special teams coach. Said, I'm done. I ain't doing this again.
Well, we had a great holder at the University of Florida who held for Arden Krzyzewski, who never got touched, it seemed like. I don't know if Johnny Nichols' uniform was ever dirty as a Florida Gator, but he's a good holder. And Arden made everything.
That was his job.
Yeah.
But usually it's the punter.
It's a punter. Okay. Yeah. Well, you got wiped out in a preseason game in Three River Stadium.
Yeah, about a buck 80, and this dude just destroyed me. Deborah says on Facebook Live regarding Trask, why won't someone play him? It's the NFL. Again, the NFL, there's 32 guys that can play at quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's only one quarterback can play, and he's a really good player. He's going to be a backup in that league a long time. I don't know if he's a starter or not.
Yeah.
We may never know.
No. Well, we spent some quality time on holders today. But it is true, QE. If you don't have a holder or a good snapper, all hell can break loose. And the field goal unit is so important, man. That could be the difference in winning a game or losing a game.
Yeah.
So it's good that Florida found out that they had a kicker. And is Trey Smack a senior, or is he
gone?
He's gone. He's gone. Okay, so they'll find another.
Yeah. Chris and Mayak on the Titan More text line says if Philo comes here, we will have both the all-time leading passer in both Georgia high school and Florida high school history, with Will Griffin coming in as well. He says we will be fine. I agree 100%.
Okay. All right. Who's the coach? Is it Will Green? Somebody who's coaching the in the playoffs as an assistant, who is the head coach at oh my God, is Will Stein. Who is that, QB?
Will Stein. I'll give you a rundown on Will Stein. Will Stein grew up in a Kentucky family. His dad, I think, played at Kentucky, was a lineman, I believe. He grew up in Louisville, went to that really, I think it's a Catholic high school that's dominant in that area in Louisville high school football. He walked on at University of Louisville, was a quarterback there. I believe when Charlie Strong was there, he played a little bit. Got into coaching immediately. It's been an OC like for the Roadrunners at UTSA, other places, and then was hired by Dan Lanning from UTSA, I believe, to call plays at Oregon.
Okay.
Now he is the head coach of. He's very good at what he does.
He's
Very
Kentucky.
good.
He's Kentucky. He's going to be.
Yes, he's a very good offensive coordinator. He understands because he played quarterback.
Okay.
He's good at what he does. Young too. I mean, he can't be more than 35 years old.
And who's he going to be coaching? Is it Kentucky?
He's the head coach of the Kentucky Wildcats, but he's still calling plays for Oregon as long as they keep.
And that there you go, folks. It's a wonderful thing. I think Oregon is going to blow out poor little JMU. I would much rather have seen Notre Dame play them, but you have to live with what happened, and we will. I tell you, I'll get on this tomorrow with Zach, our producer, on Win with JC at 8:30 on these games. We'll handicap them and we'll pick them. QB, you want to make a pick on tomorrow's game between the Rams and the Seahawks? Do you care at all?
These might be the two best teams in the league.
They really might be. And I think it's more important for Seattle, for the Rams to win, to get the home field and play in SoFi instead of having to travel to a place like Chicago or having to travel to another place that has cold weather. Not that the Rams weren't bad or aren't good in cold weather. They should have beat the Eagles last year in cold weather. But Seattle doesn't care where they play. That's because I don't know what it is with Seattle, but defensively they just travel so well. And I think the Seahawks, man, they're going to be tough to – you really have to hope for a bad day from Sam Arnold. So the line on that game is 1.5. The Seahawks are laying the 1.5, total 44.5.
They're at home, though, right?
They are. The game's in Seattle, and the Rams are traveling without Adams playing on the outside. But you know the Rams QB.
Is Devontae Adams definitely not playing?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much 100%. He's got a hamstring. They're going to play the long game with him because they're going to need him down the road. Seattle, I think they're pretty much healthier throughout. But this game, short week, this late in the season, that's tough, man. That's tough to ask these teams to do this. But they're going to play. We've got two teams playing on Saturday as well. We'll talk about this on Friday, I guess, from the airport. Eagles, Commanders, Packers, Bears, big game at 8:00 at night on Saturday, right in the middle of the JMU Oregon game. So,
really.
Yeah, they're playing on Saturday.
That's ridiculous.
That's what I was saying earlier in the show. The NFL has to play on the day of the college football playoff. Really? Do they have to do that? And they are. 8:00, the Bears and the Packers. And we've got college football playoffs going on. We have the Tulane Ole Miss game. And then right after that is the JMU Oregon game on Saturday. And by God, let's put the Packers and the Bears on in the NFL. That's selfish, but that's what they're going to do. They're going to do it.
Yeah. I like the Rams. I'm a huge
Rams
McVay guy, man.
Okay.
I love Matthew Stafford.
Oh, he's an MVP candidate.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. I just
100%, 100%.
I'm going with the Rams.
You're going to take the Rams? Okay, well, I like that pick. I'm going to go with you on the Rams, but Seattle, like you said, I think there is I think it's very reasonable to suggest that they are one of the two best teams in the NFL if the Rams aren't.
Yeah. This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life at Campus USA Credit Union. In 2022, JC, in the National Football League, the Minnesota Vikings recovered from a 33-0 deficit at halftime.
Okay.
Beat the Colts 39-36 in overtime. It's the biggest comeback in NFL history.
Well, the worst loss in NFL history happened to the poor New Orleans Saints against Minnesota when was it Darnold back there throwing the ball to the wide receiver and the Saints safety ran right by him on the sideline, and the guy went in the end zone. Oh, that was Stephon Diggs, and he went in the end zone on the last play of the game from the 50-yard line. It wasn't even a Hail Mary. It was a little down and out to the sideline. The Saints player ran right by him. Viking goes down the sideline. Drew Brees and the Saints lose in Minnesota on the last play, virtually from 50 yards. Do you remember that?
I do. All right, before we get you out of here, Porter on YouTube brought to you by Quality Plumbing. As a Georgia fan,
yeah,
Georgia fans listen to this show, JC.
Damn right we do.
He says a Georgia fan who watched UF quarterbacks going back to the days of Wayne Peace Aaron
Oh,
Follow most reminds him of a cross between
oh,
Doug Johnson and Rex Grossman.
oh my God. Well, then you've got an arm slinger, baby. You've
Well,
got
you
a
got a
guy.
guy that you got a guy that can throw it. I mean,
Mhm.
look, again, nobody will ever change my mind, and the facts are the facts.
And what is that?
Decision making, accuracy and anticipation, mental and physical toughness are the most important attributes of a quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't give
Decision
a
making.
damn how big, strong, how far he can throw it, how hard he can throw it. Arm talent. He can run a 4.3 40. Nobody gives a damn.
Well,
Complete
now, Hugh.
passes and run your team the way it should be run.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's very simple. Get the ball in the end zone and win games. That's what quarterbacks have to do. And you have to convert on third down. You have to score in the red zone. You
So
can't
let me ask you this
hand
real
the
quick,
ball
JC, while we
over.
wait on Mike Morgan.
Yeah, that's fine.
Let me see if he's on. He's on.
Well, ask me.
We'll talk about this another day.
Well, you're going to forget. So just go ahead.
No.
and ask me.
I will not forget this.
Yeah,
Because we'll talk about it on Friday.
Okay.
It is look at the quarterbacks that are leading their teams into the playoff games.
Okay. Good one. You mean college or the pros? In the
I'm talking about college.
college playoff games. Yeah. No,
Let's check out their
100%.
quarterbacks and tell me if any of those things are like 6'6", 250-pound guys that.
Right. They can't. Yeah.
No, these are guys that are.
Well, good
Know where the ball
fundamentals.
goes.
Fundamentals, QB. You know
Yes.
how it is.
Yeah.
All right, brother. We'll
All right,
see.
that's
Enjoy
JC
Mike
Johnson on
Morgan.
the Titan More Highline, courtesy of Comfort. Quick timeout. Come back. We'll have Mike Morgan. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Atlantic Roofing, Campus USA Credit Union, International Diamond Center, J.F. Hayden's Craft Liqueurs, Los Linderos Tequila, Meldon Law, Titan MRI and Imaging, Castaway Sauce, UF Health Orthopedics. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sports, Comfort Temp, Florida Cracker Oyster, Electronics World, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, McDonald's of Gainesville, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Advocare, MG&A Wealth. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And to advertise, call my man Freddie, 352-284-3733.
Naysayers. Setbacks. Injuries. Life throws a lot of hurdles your way. The key is just keep jumping them.
Coach, you know what always impressed me? How you beat Florida State to win the 1996 National Championship.
And I was really impressed with your 06, 08, and 09 Gator teams.
And the way you coached Danny to the Heisman Trophy.
A lot like what you did with Tim Tebow.
You know, you won more SEC championships than you lost home games at the Swamp.
And you had plenty of super games in front of our Gator Nation.
Yeah, there really is something special about the Swamp.
I guess that's why we say about the Swamp, only the Gators get out alive.
To the Swamp and the Gators, with the best beverage served at Spur's Gridiron Grill, 100% agave Los Linderos Tequila, aged in bourbon barrels for a smoother taste.
I think you mean Head Beer Coach 1966 lager, a crisp, light, bodied lager for easy drinking.
Nope. Los Linderos Tequila, smooth enough to drink neat, bold enough to elevate a cocktail.
1966 lager, enjoyed on game days in the fall or whenever you need a winning cold brew.
Los Linderos Tequila.
1966 lager.
Los Linderos.
1966 lager.
Y'all stop bickering.
Okay, you're both wrong anyway. The best thing Spurrier's Gridiron Grill offers are Jerry's famous chocolate chip cookies.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios Castaway Hot Sauce Company from Mile to Wild. They have a flavor for every Gator fan, available at your local Publix. That's castawaysaucecompany.com. Back to the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tent. We're joined by buddy Mike Morgan. Good morning, Mike. How you doing, buddy?
Shane, I'm doing great. I'm talking to you from Studio Paradise here in West Palm Beach, getting a few more days of sun and fun before back to Atlanta and back to a bunch of travel for college basketball. But I caught a little bit of you and JC earlier. I appreciate the kind words. JC, I've got a good suit guy. Anybody out there that wants a good custom suit, I'll plug my guy, Vaughn Granger. He'll come to your house and get you suited from boot to, what do they call that? Suit to boot, something like that. But yeah, I get compliments on the suits, not me necessarily, but as long as I look good, that's all that matters.
That's right. That's right. All right, Mike, let's, before we talk a little hoops, and I want to get your thoughts on the college football playoffs this weekend coming up. Your thoughts when you heard the news of DJ Lagway in the transfer portal?
Not shocked. It goes a little bit in line with the guy coming in as the head coach. And I don't know, you probably know more than 99% of the people out there how those conversations went. But I would just guess that, it was very direct in that, look, we don't need you. Here's what we're going to do. You're not guaranteed anything. We're going to play whoever is best for 2026 and going forward. And however that conversation went down, it obviously was not to DJ's liking, and he put himself in the portal. I never got the sense, Shane, that DJ was unhappy being a Florida Gator at all. But with a new coaching staff coming in, there's going to be competition, and DJ is used to being that 5-star, God knows how much money they were paying him, where you just assume that job is yours. You're locked in. But I don't think that's the way this new administration is going to roll. I think they're going to come in with an attitude of what is past, and we're going to put our stamp on the new wave of Gator football. And if that includes a battle for the starting quarterback spot, so be it. And that means that DJ Lagway was promised nothing in that regards. And so he's going to take that as, okay, well, I can certainly be guaranteed a starting spot somewhere in the portal and still make a lot of money. So, I don't think anybody loses per se, and I don't think there's any need to have hard feelings. We talk about this all the time. This is the modern day college football. The new normal is we are the pro NFL model. This is like a free agency situation, and he has decided not to re-sign. And the new Gator administration has decided we might be able to do something better, whether it's somebody in-house or somebody that you do pick up in the portal.
Yeah. Mike, you live most of the year in Atlanta. Here's what's crazy is if people have sent me so many tweets to look at, the folks on Gator Nation people they're crazy, right? When Buster Faulkner was hired, everybody's excited. Well, Buster Faulkner wants to bring in his own quarterback. Now Buster Faulkner doesn't know what he's doing. It just blows my mind, right? I just love the hire of Buster Faulkner. I don't know if you know him. I just think he's very good at what he does.
I don't know him personally, but I know this. He did a remarkable job at Georgia Tech. And then before that, and this is the important thing to me, and this is the thing that I look for when making a hire like the OC hire, and I think I talked about on your show, there were a half a dozen OC hires just in the SEC alone. What does that tell you? There's a lot of people searching for answers on offense. It wasn't just Florida. A lot of teams struggled to move the football and put up points in the Southeastern Conference. But Faulkner did it not just at Georgia Tech, but he was the quarterbacks coach for Stetson Bennett on 2 national championship teams. That's the type of resume I want to see. It's not a one-trick pony. It's not, he was just good with Haynes King at quarterback. at Georgia Tech, and he only knows how to run that specific type of offense. That's not what they ran at Georgia. I mean, that's not what they ran with Stetson Bennett at all. So he shows some versatility. He can adapt to the talent and the personnel that he has. That, to me, is more important than ever. I don't think you can have a guy who only knows how to do things one way, because in the ever-changing, the roster turnover, which has never been so high in the history of the sport, you have to be able to modify a little bit. I don't think it's just look, this is my scheme, and if you don't like it, the hell with it, everybody adapt to me. I think you have to adapt to your personnel a little bit. So I don't know why you wouldn't be excited about Buster Faulkner. I know there are plenty of other teams that would have been glad to get him. It would seem to me to be a good fit.
Yeah, I think it's a great fit. I can't wait. Andy's question for you on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law. Mike, can you talk about your Heisman vote and your thoughts on Pavia's antics?
Yeah, so full disclosure, I can say now, I voted Mendoza 1, I had Pavia 2, and I had Jacob Rodriguez, the linebacker at Texas Tech, who, if you really do a deep dive on him, and then having seen him in person calling the game against BYU, that was enough for me. I voted him 3rd. Pavia's antics, if he did that before the vote, I could promise you he wouldn't have been 2nd on my ballot. I did it based purely on what he was able to do during the season, which was phenomenal. And really for 2 seasons. I mean, he helped put Vanderbilt football on the map, and I'm not sure if they're going to be the same without him. Why he decided to show his rear end afterwards is unfortunate, embarrassing. I know he apologized, but man, it's just a bad look. And unfortunately for Diego, that's going to follow him. I don't know if he's ever going to have a life in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And much like Johnny Manziel, like that type of stuff follows you forever. It's always going to be attached to you. I don't think he could have handled it worse, quite frankly. So, but that was my ballot. And again, we filled him out right after the conference championship game. So at least I did. And I felt good about Mendoza 1. You could argue, well, his numbers weren't eye-popping, or I don't know. I mean, to me, he embodied what, first off, what you'd love to see a Heisman Trophy candidate be in conducting himself, but also he was just clutch all year long. Very talented quarterback. He's probably going to be a first-round draft pick, and Indiana's the number 1 team in the country. So for me, it was a little bit of a tough decision between him and Pavia at 1, but I thought overall Mendoza was worthy of the bid.
Mike, looking at the playoff games this weekend, first of all, let's start Alabama, Oklahoma rematch. Who wins?
Yeah. I would probably take Alabama right now. Oklahoma, I have to assume by now the hand for Mateer is fine, right? Maybe not 100% fine, but it's been a couple of months, and he's obviously played in a number of games since then, and he's been able to deliver. And I still love their defense, but I kind of give Ty Simpson the edge. And I know they haven't exactly lit it up offensively in some of these games here late, and obviously did not have a great showing in Atlanta in the SEC championship game. But I don't know. There's just something about the game that I think Alabama has an edge. I think it's going to be an incredibly entertaining game. I mean, between that and the A&M Miami game, those are two. That's why people like me have been clamoring for a playoff for years, to have these type of games in the opening round on college campus sites. Can't get enough of it. But I would give Bama a slight edge on the road in that game.
What about the Miami game?
Having a tough time with this one. I had A&M Texas my last week, and A&M did not look good. Now, they just got simply outplayed by Texas, and that's part of that, obviously, is that Texas hit its stride, and if we had a 16-team playoff, they'd obviously be in, and nobody would want to play Arch Manning right now and that team. But Marcel Reed was very underwhelming to me in that game. For a guy who was a Heisman Trophy candidate, a guy that looks so good. But the criticism of A&M, it is legitimate. I'm not going to sit here and tell you they're overrated, but and through no fault of their own, the SEC gave them the most lopsided conference schedule. They beat all of the worst teams and somehow avoided all of the best teams up until the Texas game where they got completely outplayed. Miami, I think on paper, on just based on pure talent, is the more talented roster. I mean, I still can't get over the problem with Miami is Carson Beck is a fascinating study, and I've watched this kid play now for 3-4 years. And when he is on, Shane, I mean, it's like Joe Flacco in the playoffs. He can go on one of those heaters where he looks like the best quarterback in college football, bar none. But then he has the occasional game like Louisville where he just vomits all over himself, throws inexplicable, soul-crushing interceptions. So which Carson Beck shows up? If the first one shows up, Miami wins the game. They're better on the line of scrimmage. They're better overall. If Carson Beck has one of those blank moments, A&M wins it.
Tulane, Ole Miss. I think the games would be closer than the first time, personally.
The Ole Miss Tulane game? Yeah. I mean, look, everybody's going to pick Tulane. It's just a matter of if you're going to pick them to cover the 17.5, right? That's more of a JC's bread and butter. But I don't know. I think even with all the distractions and this is like we're really in uncharted territory, right? I mean, we've got a playoff team whose coach is at LSU, but his offensive coordinator is on loan. If Ole Miss makes a big run, I think Lane still gets a bonus, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
The whole thing is just like it's just like welcome to 2025 college sports, right? The whole thing's just messed up in so many different ways. But Ole Miss at home, I just think they're too much for Tulane, and then you get ready for an Ole Miss matchup against Georgia, right? That would be the Sugar Bowl on January 1. That could be a fascinating game.
Yeah, Tim on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, says, how did Mendoza get out of Florida? Because, Tim, he was just a guy. He didn't wow anybody. He's not a great, when I say he's not athletic, I should say. I bet he's a good athlete, but he's not athletic. He probably doesn't run real fast, doesn't have a strong arm. The dude just throws completions and knows how to lead a team. The most important stuff in playing quarterback. That's how he went to Cal.
Right. Was he at a Christopher Columbus High in Miami?
Yes.
There's a lot of great players down there in the 305 and great quarterbacks. And like you said, I mean, it's important to note, everybody peaks at a different time. I mean, we see this all the time. Take a look at the quarterbacks that have been leading the way. And for every 5-star DJ Lagway, there's been a bunch of 2-star kids taken in the portal. You go back to Cam Ward and his story. You go to Mateer and his story, Diego Pavia, O'Rourke, the kid last year for Indiana that led them. These were all kids that were not highly recruited at all. They were barely on the radar screen. And so the quarterback still has become, in so many ways, the hardest position to project. And a lot of guys just don't figure it out, for lack of a better term, until later. And you're right, the measurables, he didn't have the measurables that some of these other guys had. But as you often say, playing quarterback ain't about measurables. I mean, are you accurate? Can you read defenses? Can you process, make quick decisions? That's the majority of the position. And so I don't care if you run a 4.39, and I don't care if you can throw it 80 yards, which you're never going to do in a game anyway. Some of these guys just have all the other things that make you a great quarterback at any level.
Yeah. Text on the Titan Mark text line from James. He wants your thoughts on the Michigan situation.
What a mess. Yeah, I think Sharon Moore watched a few too many P. Diddy videos and figured he was just going to be all about that life. It's crazy. I had Michigan State this year. That's a talented team that could have made a playoff if they won one more game, lost one fewer game, however you want to look at it. But how much more can a fan base tolerate? Now, they got the national championship, so that helps quell the pain. But it's like one embarrassing saga after another. This guy was handed the keys to a Lamborghini, and he didn't have a resume that would indicate that. I mean, if you look at what he had done, it's not much. And they gave him one of the premier jobs in college football. So you already were given a gift. And then all you're asked to do is conduct yourself in somewhat of a respectable manner. Look, it's still an outstanding job. I don't think Kalen DeBoer takes it. I think that contract will be redone. DeBoer will stay. It would send a really bad message for Kalen DeBoer if he just quit Alabama, because basically what you're saying is I can't compete. This job is not for me. I'm not Nick Saban, so I'm going to go take Michigan. I think they've got to be a little more creative in the hire. In the perfect world, they would have found out. Of course, some people tell you they knew about it for months, but they would have acted quicker on Sharon Moore, and Matt Campbell would have been the head coach there. And I think Matt Campbell's going to do a great job at Penn State, but he's off the board. And I think Kalen DeBoer is going to be off the board. And I think it's too late to poach some of these other schools at premier programs. So they're going to have to be very creative to me with this hire. It's an unbelievable job. They have gobs and gobs of resources financially and every other way, but it's a terrible spot to be put in.
All right, real quick before we get you out of here, a little basketball talk. Gators play tonight against St. Francis, I think here. Come off a win this past weekend. Xavier Lee played a lot better. Still, it's all about the backcourt. They still have like 3 or 4 games left, I think, before conference play. Do you think they can get it together? And who is the best team you've seen so far in the Southeastern Conference play?
Let me just start with this. Thomas Houck is such a baller and an unbelievable story. You want to talk about like a 2-star under the radar and how he just keeps getting better game by game. I mean, you're looking at a lottery pick right now in Thomas Houck. And when I first saw him, I was just like, who is this dude? Like, where'd they find him? I've talked to him before. He's from an area that's like 20 miles from Amish country. Not a whole lot of great athletes come out of that part of Pennsylvania. So I love watching that kid play. Let me start there. Look, for Florida, you hit it. It's the backcourt. I don't know many teams that can lose your top 4 guards, 3 of which are playing pro ball, 1 of which is at Kentucky, and then just, no problem playing like a top 10 team. If you look at their losses, they're all like really good losses. There's not like an embarrassing loss in the bunch. So their net and all those other things, by the end of the year, they're going to be still in good position to get a high seed if they do well in conference. I don't think the conference is as good as it was last year. I think right now, in the teams that I've seen Tennessee, Auburn, Bama. I've watched a bunch of Kentucky. I've seen Vanderbilt, who's a great story. But to me, the most talented team is Alabama. I think Alabama going into conference play is number 1. Now, that can change. I mean, Florida, you mentioned Xavier Lee. Like if they start coming together, and remember, Florida, nobody was talking about Florida at this time last year as a team that could win the national championship. Nobody. But then it all came together. They got better and better with time. They shook off a tough home loss to Missouri. And the month of February, they just crushed people from that point on. And we'll see if they can get that together now. But for this day, I think it's Alabama 1, and then I put Florida, Tennessee. I want to see more of Vanderbilt before I jump the bandwagon. I think Byington's a great coach, and they're a great story. I just want to see them do it against great competition from this point on. But those would be my top 3 or 4 teams at this point in time.
Yeah. Real quick, where is this? I wanted to read this. Gators 5150 on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Says, Shane, I've noticed Arch and DJ highly coveted, both awful mechanics, living on physical talent alone. Agree. Look, Arch had a good year. You go back and watch him early in the season, for whatever reason, he didn't play like he was coached or how he grew up. He had some terrible mechanics going into some games, but as the season, the latter part of the season, the last 5 or 6 games, he played at a pretty high level. At least what I saw.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I had him against Texas and I had him against Texas A&M. He was the best player on the field in both games.
Yeah.
The physical talent there was a rushing touchdown against A&M where he kind of came out of a pile and then just turned it into another gear, and he's out running like defensive backs for the Aggies. So the physical is undoubtedly good, and the listener is right, and you've pointed it out. His mechanics were off. Mechanics were off for a lot of people. Lagway, Nussmeier, Sellers. There was a lot of bad mechanics for the so-called elite quarterbacks in the SEC this year. Is what we've talked about a number of times. It was a crazy year where the top quarterbacks all had a down year, and the guys in the middle and in the bottom all had the best years. But I would not count out Arch Manning for next year. I know a lot of people want to say he's bust, he's overrated, his last name. No, I think the kid's actually going to be a really good football player next year.
Agree. Mike, great stuff as always. Appreciate your time. We'll talk to you soon, my man.
Long live the purple porpoise, Shane. I appreciate the time.
All right. That's Mike Morgan. Join us on the Titanmore Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Miapa Latin Cafe. Order your holiday package today. No one does catering like Miapa Latin Cafe. Thanks to Mike and JC. Have a great day, folks. See you tomorrow. Take care.